Let me tell you a story, one that will make your skin crawl and your spirit shiver. It happened to a man named Keen, a strong young man, a businessman, full of life. But after that night, his life was never the same again. That night, the road was dark. You know how these village roads are. No street lights, no sound, just the whisper of the wind through the trees. Keen was coming back from the city, tired, his mind set on reaching home. Then he saw her, a woman, standing alone by the roadside. She was beautiful, I won't lie. Her skin smooth like fresh palm oil, her hair long and black, flowing like river water. She wore a white dress that clung to her like mist. But her eyes, her eyes were deep, dark, like the kind that had seen things that shouldn't be seen. Keen slowed his car, rolled down the glass. "Madam, are you okay? What are you doing here at this time?" The woman smiled, small, soft, almost sad. "Please, sir, I need a ride." Keen hesitated. Something in his spirit was warning him, but he shook it off. What kind of man would he be if he left a woman stranded in the dead of night? He unlocked the door. "Enter," he said. She moved smoothly, like the air carried her instead of her legs. As she settled in, a strange scent filled the car. Not perfume, not sweat, but something like rain mixed with something sweet. It made the hairs on Keen's neck rise. They drove in silence. Keen kept stealing glances at her. She sat still, too still, her hands folded neatly in her lap. The silence in the car was heavy, like a thick blanket pressing down. Finally he cleared his throat. "Where are you going?" She turned, her voice barely above a whisper. "Not far. I will tell you when to stop." The journey continued. The night stretched long. Then out of nowhere she lifted her hand and pointed. "Here." Keen frowned. "Here?" There was nothing there. No house, no compound, just bush. "You sure?" he asked again. The woman turned to him and smiled again. "Thank you for the ride." She opened the door and stepped out. Keen's breath caught in his throat. What he saw chilled him to his bone. Her feet were missing. Her legs ended mid-air, her dress swaying around her ankles as though she was floating. "Ah!" Keen wanted to shout, but his voice failed him. His heart was beating fast, his hands gripping the steering wheel tight. She turned her head slightly, her dark eyes locking onto his. Then she vanished. Keen slammed his foot on the pedal, nearly running into a tree in his panic. He didn't stop until he reached his compound, jumped out of the car, locked every door, and collapsed onto his bed. The next morning, he told his neighbor, an old man named Papa Ejike. The old man's face changed. "You picked up Ngozi," he muttered. Keeney frowned. "Who is Ngozi?" Papa Ejike looked around, as if making sure no spirits were listening. Then in a low voice he said, "That road. Years ago, a trader gave a woman a ride one night, just like you. But she never reached her destination. They found her body in the bush, her legs cut off. Till today she still walks that road, looking for a ride. But those who carry her, she never leaves them alone." Keeney's blood ran cold. That night, he tried to shake off the fear. He told himself it was all in his head. But as he stood in front of his mirror, brushing his teeth, something made him look up. She was there, Ngozi, standing behind him. Her smile stretched wider, too wide. The room turned cold. The lights flickered. Then she whispered, her breath chilling his ear, "Thank you for the ride." The mirror shattered, and from that day, whenever Keen looked into a mirror, she was always there. My brother, my sister, if you are ever driving at night and you see a woman standing by the road, don't stop, because not everyone walking the earth still belongs to it.